The magic of M. Say the word M. This creates a relaxed throat space and neutral laryngeal position with moderate vocal fold compression. After all the high and imposed larynx exercises we've worked through so far to counteract extrinsic muscular interference, our goal now is to sing with a relaxed and neutral larynx and a balanced onset. The voice stop consonants and adducted onsets used previously to encourage vocal fold adduction are replaced with the M sound, which encourages the balanced onset. When singing songs, certain styles may require a slightly higher laryngeal position, and that's fine as long as this is a style choice and not your only option. The creak, also known as the vocal fry, is a good way to find just enough and not too much vocal fold compression. This can help encourage a coordinated transfer from TA dominant vocal activity to CT dominant vocal activity. In other words, a smooth, unbroken vocal line from the lowest notes to the highest notes of the range. The neutral larynx. Our ultimate goal is a relaxed and neutral larynx. When the larynx stays relaxed and neutral, no matter how high or low you sing, you're free from unwanted extrinsic muscular engagement. You can then play around with slightly lower or higher laryngeal positions to color the sound and produce stylistically appropriate timbre. A well-balanced voice is based on chiaroscuro, both bright and dark resonances together. The vowel, sung with a neutral larynx, otherwise known as speech level, is a great way to create balance throughout the voice. Once the student is singing with a neutral larynx, replace syllables in exercises with phrases such as, "Oh, how I love to sing," "My, what a wonderful day," "Singing is such wonderful fun," etc. The undeveloped and unbalanced light lower category singer. For breathy, undeveloped, and unbalanced light lower singers, we begin with bottom-up exercises in lower keys to give the singer more hold or vocal fold adduction in the lower register. Then we want the singer to maintain that adduction as they sing higher. We use the pharyngeal, bratty, witchy, voce di strega exercises, adducted onset exercises, open vowels like a and ah, and voice stop consonants such as G, B, and D. Order of priorities for the breathy, undeveloped, or unbalanced light lower singer. Our objectives in order are 1. Vocal fold adduction from the bottom up. Usually these singers can find fold adduction in the lower register. We then take this increased adduction through the bridge and into the upper register. We use the adducted onset and pharyngeal vowels to get the best result. 2. Fold adduction with adducted onset from the top down, from the upper register to the lower register. Then 3, using voice stop consonants with top-down exercises and imposed larynx hooty quality for fold adduction and register connection. Now the larynx is low and we've moved away from the adducted onset while maintaining a clear and focused sound. In round 3, each exercise is performed twice, once with the higher larynx, pharyngeal or twang sound, and once with a low imposed larynx, not necessarily in the same lesson or practice session. Both these temporary sounds help the student negotiate the transition, first bridge, primo passaggio, successfully while maintaining adequate vocal fold adduction and compression. In addition, they've developed chiaroscuro, the balance of bright and dark timbres necessary for good singing. Finally, the magic of M's and N's exercises are sung first with pharyngeal a and then imposed larynx sound. The creak may be used in the beginning for moderate compression. And lastly, the singer vocalizes in the neutral larynx position. If these exercises can be sung without flipping or pulling, the voice is now balanced and you're ready to move on to step 6, where we focus on the balanced onset. Order of priorities for the undeveloped and unbalanced light lower categories. For the undeveloped and unbalanced light lower category, we start with bottom-up exercises and scales that create better vocal fold adduction in the lower register. Keys are lowered to encourage more hold. Round 1 is where we discover adduction. The singer experiences increased vocal fold adduction in the lower register and then brings it to the upper register with the adducted onset and open vowel a. Notice that undeveloped and light lower singers do not need to experience release. Therefore, semi-occluded exercises would not be the first choice for these singers. The first priority here is to establish better vocal fold adduction. Singers who are too light and breathy in the lower register benefit from sounds that create better vocal fold adduction as a first objective. Release is something they already have too much of. These singers will find success by starting with adducted onset exercises in the lower register and blending that coordination upward. Voice stop consonants such as G, B, and D are effective at reducing airflow and creating better vocal fold adduction in addition. Round 2 is where we reinforce. We're increasing the adduction and closed quotient, eventually matching the quality and power of the lower register. Round 3 is where we develop automatic good habits as a result of repetition with focused attention to the objective of register connection and balance. In round 3, singers ultimately move to a neutral larynx, speech level phonation. Step 5 exercises for the unbalanced light lower and undeveloped breathy singers. The objective is register connection with temporary sounds. In round 1, we discover adduction. Register connection, increasing vocal fold adduction from the bottom up or lower register with the adducted onset coup de glotte. Then we increase register connection by increasing vocal fold adduction from the top down, again using the coup de glotte. Then we reinforce, top down, hootie, develop. We go from the bottom up with the high larynx temporary sounds, and then we move away from those with the M and N performed first with the imposed larynx. And then we use M and N with a neutral larynx. Round 1, discover adduction. In step 5, for the undeveloped and unbalanced light lower singer, in other words, the breathy singers, our first objective is to get the vocal folds to adduct from the bottom up. And we use open vowels along with a light coup de glotte onset to increase vocal fold adduction in the lower register. And then we take it on up. All right, so just a reminder, with the adducted onset, otherwise known as the coup de glotte, if the vocal fold adduction is adequate, you don't need the coup de glotte onset. Soften the adducted onset by adding my or n before the vowel. For example, meow instead of ow, nay instead of a. Vocal fold adduction is adequate if the sound is clear rather than breathy. Be careful when using the adducted onset not to slam the folds together too harshly. The object, as always, is balance. Bearing in mind that once the student has found success with the vowel that's highlighted in yellow, you're going to want to use all of the other vowels as well. And that is what the no vocal track is for. That is a track that has no vocal demo, so you can choose the syllable, sound, or vowel that you wish to use there. Extending the scale with a repeater. And then we want to sustain. Here's the legato staccato octave. And the legato staccato repeater. Building skills sequentially, we then move on to the legato staccato repeater with sustain. And the adducted onset 1.5 or long scale on an A. Not every student would need to do every single one of these scales, obviously. At any point, you could choose to move on to the adducted top-down scales if the student has found success. But let's continue on with legato staccato 1.5. And staccato legato 15385. And then we reverse that. Legato staccato 15385. At this point, the student has found a nice adducted onset. There's no breathiness in the sound, and we're ready to move on to the adducted top-down exercises. We start with the top-down separated ow. And then we move to the top-down slide on ow. Staying with the top-down approach, we're going to do an adducted repeater top-down, again using this ow. Adding skills here, we're going to do the same thing, adducted repeater, top-down with a slide. I have found that using slides both up and down really helps to blend the registers. And our next exercise is called staccato legato vibrato. And you'll notice that the demo used a very pharyngeal / twangy sound there. So there's all kinds of shades of pharyngealness. And you'd want to use the degree of pharyngeal quality that is required in order to address the student's current tendencies. Here's the adducted 3 times down. And again, building skills here, 3 times down with a sustain. To do the female version of the adducted 5-tone slide down here. In round 2, we're working with a lower larynx. We're going to use top-down exercises with a very hooty sound, but voiced stop consonants. And we're going to use a hooty slide here. Then we're going to go to the repeater top-down hooty. So you notice these round 1 exercises or discover exercises. We're going for vocal fold adduction, but with a rather high larynx and pharyngeal sound. Here in round 2, we'd like to have the same nice adducted onset, but we're working with a lower larynx. All right, now we're going to slide down. Now you do the same thing with a sustain. And we'll do that slide down again. And you don't need to do every single exercise if the skill that we're looking for here has been developed. In round 3, advanced development, you will do each of these exercises twice. We'll start this round of the pharyngeal sounds with the octave arpeggio on na. And then an octave repeater. And an octave repeater sustain. And a 1.5 long scale. Male version. And around the bridge 3 times. Oh, 15385. Then we're going to use an octave repeater on a gug. Octave repeater with sustain. And a long scale. Next is a 1.5 scale around the bridge 3 times. One 5-3-8-5 scale. Remember, we should always discard the temporary tools like adducted onset, pharyngeal sounds, and imposed larynx sounds as soon as the voice is functional without that much help being needed. Let's move on to the final round of step 5 here. At this point, we'd like to discontinue the voice stop consonants in favor of M's and creaky sounds that will help us find a more moderate onset, like this. This is called the creaky question. This is how you find it. So when you're using the creak, it's a great way to find just enough and not too much vocal fold compression. This can help encourage a coordinated transfer from TA dominant vocal fold activity to CT dominant vocal fold activity. In other words, it creates a smooth, unbroken vocal line from the lowest notes to the highest notes of your range. In order to creak or fry successfully, you must be relaxed and you must be singing at a moderate volume. Singing too loudly or pushing air will cause coughing or tickling of the throat. You can try these exercises first with some creak and then go back and do them clean. And then just an slide. And a 2-octave siren. Great way to find balance between registers, lower and upper, and a great way to connect the registers. And the double long scale. And our 2-octave sirens, which are great for register blending. All right, so this is to mum double long scale. Again, the helps us find a really nice balance. To mum double 1 5 3 8 5. Octave arpeggio, opening up to an So here's a mum octave arpeggio. And octave repeater. And again, adding scales sequentially, we're going to go to a repeater with sustain. For the different categories. In step 6, we're talking about the balanced onset. We're going to use staccato and advanced vibrato. Okay, we're going to eliminate the coup de glotte and aspirate onset. So the coup de glotte is that little that we were using in step 5, which I find very effective. But by the time we get to step 6, we're looking for balanced onset, which we're going to disregard that coup de glotte. We're also going to work on advanced vibrato. So a great way to find a really nice coordinated onset is with staccato exercises. All right, staccato develops the balanced onset, neither breathy nor overcompressed. It requires moderate compression and consistent arpeggio. And then with our advanced vibrato work, we continue on to learn different types of vibrato. We started with the pulse, but we're going to look at the pitch change vibrato, both up and down, the delayed vibrato, and the diphthong vibrato. Step 6 introduces the idea of choosing specific types of vibrato that are authentic to a particular style of singing. A jazz vibrato is more throaty. A musical theater vibrato might be delayed with a straight tone into a wider, slower vibrato. Staccato is very helpful for the undeveloped and unbalanced light lower vocal categories because it increases vocal fold adduction. And by the same token, for the unbalanced pulled lower, this staccato reduces overcompression. It also develops better pitch control and register balance. All right. Okay, we're looking for a silent H onset. We don't want ha, ha, ha. We want ha, 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 ha. There's no perceptible breathiness in the sound. All right, to experience it, you can place your hands around your waistline with your thumbs just under the back rib, and then you just say, as if you just tasted something very good. You'll notice the slight firming of the lateral abdominal muscles and the intercostals as well. Now you're going to try it again, but this time you're going to say, as if you're laughing. Okay, so what you're doing there is kind of the muscles of inspiration are opposing the muscles of expiration. And that's what arpeggio is. All right, staccato means short and detached. Remember, the onset is a silent H. We don't want a glottal attack. You'll feel a slight firming of the lateral abdominals. They create better balance. All right, don't let the student do this. You want to make sure they're in a neutral position. We don't want this, we don't want this. We just want neutral and relaxed. And we continue to use the breathing belt for stability and support. All right, higher skills on vibrato. We talked about that, the delayed vibrato, the different types of vibrato. Vibrato requires release in singing, and even vibrato is difficult to achieve if you have tension. Vibrato with diphthongs. Remember, the second more closed of the two vowels that make up a diphthong occurs as an afterthought. So you want to make sure that second vowel sound occurs almost after the last pulse of your final vibrato. All right, in this section, we do use a faster vibrato rate, and we use fricative consonants like F and V, and also plosives like K, and nasals like N that encourage uninterrupted phonation. Vibrato should be tailored to the style of music at this stage. Okay. It's important that the rate of vibrato matches the example on the recording, neither too fast nor too slow. So a healthy vibrato is here, okay, let's say between 5 and 6 pulses per second. Tremolo is too fast, wobble is too slow. All right, so here's some step 6 exercises. Step 6. The balanced onset with staccato and advanced vibrato. The objectives of Step 6. Balanced onset with the elimination of the coup de glotte and aspirate onsets. Development of advanced vibrato. Onset is the manner in which phonation is initiated. The balanced onset is neither aspirate H nor the coup de glotte used in prior steps. The balanced onset is the healthiest way to initiate phonation. Staccato and vibrato encourage moderate vocal fold compression and balance between air pressure and the vibrating vocal folds. Staccato. Staccato develops the balanced onset, neither breathy nor overcompressed. Staccato requires moderate compression and consistent arpeggio. Advanced vibrato. We began our work in vibrato in steps 2 and 3 with the pulse vibrato. In step 6, we will learn about the other ways of creating vibrato, the pitch change vibrato, delayed vibrato, and diphthong vibratos. Step 6 introduces the idea of choosing specific vibrato styles that are authentic to a particular genre of music. For example, a jazz vibrato is often the pitch change type, And musical theater vibrato is often delayed. It's a straight tone that is held before moving into a wider and slower vibrato. Staccato is very helpful for the breathy, undeveloped, or unbalanced light lower vocal categories because it increases vocal fold adduction. For the strained, unbalanced, pulled lower category singer, staccato reduces overcompression. Staccato also develops better pitch control and register balance. Efficient breath management in singing is all about creating a balance between air pressure and the vibrating vocal folds. This balance is not static but shifts constantly to meet the demands of vocal styles, volume, and intensity. In earlier steps, we achieved better vocal fold adduction using methods such as the adducted onset and voiced stop consonants. At this stage of the training, we will progress beyond those methods to a more advanced method of balancing airflow and vocal fold resistance, staccato with the silent H onset. Note that this is not an aspirate H with excess air escaping, nor is it a heart attack. The silent H encourages a healthy, balanced onset. With the silent H onset rather than the aspirate H, there is no perceptible breathiness in the sound. As you will recall from our discussions about arpeggio, the idea is to maintain the expanded position of inspiration, otherwise known as inhalation, delaying the collapse of the rib cage and torso as you sing. Arpeggio is 1, relaxing all muscles in order to expand with the breath, then 2, suspending momentarily and slightly firming the lateral abdominal muscles, and 3, delaying the collapse of the torso slightly as you sing. It is suspension, not tension. The sternum and chest do not collapse as a long phrase is sung, and the ribs move inward more slowly. It is not pulling the tummy upward. Experience it. To get the feeling of staccato in the body, start by placing your hands around your waistline with the thumbs just under the back ribs. Expand outward with the inhalation, then say, as if you just tasted something very good. Notice the slight firming of the lateral abdominal muscles. Now take another breath, expanding and then slightly firming, and this time say, as if you are laughing. When you perform this exercise, the abdominals neither pull up and in nor push outward. They maintain the expanded position of inhalation. This is the idea of pushing and pulling at the same time, maintaining a balance between opposing muscle groups using antagonistic muscle engagement. The muscles of inhalation and exhalation are both activated. Working on staccato is a great way to achieve the flexibility needed for fast riffs and runs in step 8. Remember, in staccato, all the H's are silent. Teaching tips. Staccato means short and detached. When singing staccato exercises, remember the onset is a silent H. The onset of sound is neither glottally attacked nor aspirate. You should feel a slight firming of the lateral abdominal muscles when performing staccato exercises. Staccato exercises create better balance between the air and vocal folds. They encourage moderate compression. Continue to use the thumb and finger on either side of the mouth to prevent spreading. Continue to use the SLAS breathing belt to reinforce good breath management. Expand outward in a 360-degree circle as you inhale, then delay the collapse of the torso as you sing. Advanced vibrato. We began our work in vibrato in steps 2 and 3 with the pulse vibrato. In step 6, we will learn the 9-pulse vibrato, the pitch change vibrato, delayed vibrato, and diphthong vibratos. Vibrato requires release, and even vibrato is difficult to achieve with tension. Well-produced vibrato indicates vocal balance. Vibrato with diphthongs. Remember that the second, more closed of the 2 vowels that make up a diphthong occurs as an afterthought. When singing diphthongs with vibrato on sustained pitch, remember to place the second, more closed syllable after the final vibrato. Teaching tips. In step 6, rounds 2 and 3, we encourage a faster vibrato rate. We discontinue the use of voiced stop consonants such as G in favor of fricatives like F, V, plosives like K, and nasals like N that encourage uninterrupted phonation. Vibrato should be tailored to the style of music. The presence of vibrato indicates good balance. A vibrato that is too fast sounds like a bleeding goat. This is known as tremolo. A vibrato that is too slow is a wobble. A correctly produced vibrato oscillates somewhere between 5 and 6 pulses or cycles per second by modern standards of beauty in our culture. When vocalizing with a recorded accompaniment, it is important that the rate of vibrato matches the example on the recording, neither too fast nor too slow. The definition of vibrato is a regular, rapid, minimal variation in pitch during singing, producing a stronger, richer tone. Vibrato is typically characterized in terms of two factors: the amount of pitch variation, known as the extent of vibrato, and the speed with which the pitch is varied, known as the rate of vibrato. A healthy vibrato rate is between 5 and 6 hertz or cycles per second. Faster than that is a tremolo, the unpleasant bleeding goat sound, and slower than 4 cycles per second is a wobble, which is problematic because pitch becomes too variable. Vibrato is created by either the TA, thyroarytenoid muscle, or by the diaphragm, or it can be a combination of both. Round 1 staccato sounds like this. Remember, that's the silent H. Then we're going to move to the octave down 3 times. Okay, now we're going 3 times down with sustain. We do a jumping jack staccato, which is kind of fun. This is a round 2 staccato. This really helps with flexibility as well. We do the skipping staccato, which also helps with flexibility. Moving on to advanced vibrato. We're going to revisit the pulse vibrato, but this time we're going to do 9 pulses instead of 3 or 5. It sounds like this. So that's the slow version, and you want to count those vibratos as 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, let's speed it up a little bit here. All right, so we're going to put a vibrato 9 pulse at the end here. And we'll speed it up. Okay. On this side, we're doing a 9 pulse vibrato in the upper register. And on number 4 here, we're doing vibrato every note on Fee. Now we'll increase that tempo. Okay, in round 2 now we're going to get into our pitch change vibrato up. much faster and lighter vibrato approach. And here's the pitch change vibrato down. We talked about sustaining pitch with vibrato and diphthongs. Here's an exercise that shows us how to do that. You sustain the first of the two vowel sounds, and you only close to the closed vowel as an afterthought. It's the same thing when you have words that end with R. You don't want to close down too soon to that R. And now we get into the delayed vibrato sounds. This is where you have a straight tone and then you kick into a vibrato, often used in musical theater styles. Ma, 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 ma. Ma, 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 ma. Me, 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 me. Me, 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 me. Okay. Now we get into some of the exercises that we actually used in step 5, but at this point we just let our vibrato go. You know, do the vibrato that feels right. You want to make sure that it's not too fast and not too slow. Here is a repeater sustain with vibrato on Fi. Octave up 2 vowels. Either O. Okay, octave up 3 vowels. All right. We can sustain on a 1.5 scale at the very top like this. This is a V. Or on a 1-5-3-8-5 like this. And a really interesting thing to do with vibrato is to have the ability to increase your vibrato speed at will. The ability to increase vibrato speed is an advanced skill that can add excitement to a sustained phrase. We start this exercise with a slow pulse vibrato and gradually speed up to a very fast vibrato, like this. Yeah. Triplets, sixteenths, back to triplets. All right, on to step 7. Step 7 is advanced skills like dynamics, flexibility, power, stepwise motion, and we work on eliminating the helpers. Advanced musical skills, dynamics and flexibility. We're getting rid of temporary sounds. We're moving toward the neutral larynx, okay? Flexibility for riffs and runs. All right, with dynamics, crescendo is get louder, decrescendo is get softer. We want to do either of these or both without adding extrinsic interfering muscle. Increasing volume requires just enough and not too much increased air pressure and a corresponding increase in vocal fold tension. Tone quality and pitch should remain constant during changes of volume. Don't allow a crescendo or a decrescendo to affect intonation and timbre. Messa di voce, where your crescendo and decrescendo exercises really help with this. Flexibility, building a healthy, elastic, and pliable instrument. That's going to help us with our step 8 stuff, with our riffing. Power is the third skill. We must always remember that air pressure can never exceed the resisting capability of the vocal folds. We must always maintain balance. Balanced onset, balance of TA and CT, balanced resonance, or more precisely form and harmonic activity, which we control by the way we shape the resonators of the pharynx and mouth, including the tongue, lips, jaw, and soft palate. And balance of air pressure and vocal fold resistance, which we refer to as air and muscle. All right, stepwise motion is a skill that we must develop. It's easier to sing wider intervals than to sing melodies in stepwise motion. Singing an ascending stepwise scale without flipping takes time and practice, but that's what we have to do in the songs. We can create greater ease in transitioning with vowel modification. All right, we want to eliminate the helpers, which are all the consonants and things that help us find a result here. All right, here's step 7. Just a few of the exercises from step 7. Step 7 is where we work on advanced skills like dynamics, flexibility, power, stepwise motion, and eliminating the helpers. We don't have time to play all the exercises, but we'll give you a couple of examples of each skill. Let's start with dynamics. In dynamics, we use crescendo and decrescendo, getting louder and getting softer, and work on messa di voce, a combination of both crescendo and decrescendo. No, 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 no. Flexibility exercises build a healthy, elastic, and pliable vocal instrument and prepare you to execute clean riffs and runs in step 8 style. And here's the same exercise performed faster. Power. When increasing power, we must remember that air pressure must never exceed the resisting capability of the vocal folds. We must always maintain balance in order to sing well. We're really pressing into the bridge areas with these exercises. Here's an extension of the first exercise. And stepwise motion. It's much easier to sing wider intervals than to sing melodies in stepwise motion. Singing an ascending stepwise scale without flipping takes time and practice, but that is what we have to do in songs. And a more difficult one. And skill 5, eliminating the helpers. Temporary sounds are eliminated in this final advanced skill step. We work toward eliminating consonants as helpers too. If you fall out of the mix, simply return to steps 2, 3, and 4 to reestablish the lower and upper registers. Then visit step 5 again to reconnect the registers. And try again. And once you've gotten through all of these exercises, you're ready to move on to step 8, style. Everybody's favorite step. This is the fun one, riffs and runs. Okay, objectives of step 8, learning how to sing basic common riffs and runs that everybody does, learning how to use texture. We also learned the blues scales and pentatonic scales and some pretty darn hard riffs in each of those scales. All right, everybody likes to riff and run. Just make sure you're singing in tune. Practice these things slowly and then gradually build up the speed. You want to sing in tune. Nothing else matters if you're out of tune. Flexibility is a key component of riffing. Requires a lighter coordination of the vocal folds and less air pressure. If you're singing hard all the time, it makes it hard to develop the lightness and flexibility needed to execute fast runs. You have to back off the volume and the air pressure, and the dynamics and flexibility exercises in step 7 are designed to prepare you for this. Speed is something you start slow and work your way up. All right, these are the basic riffs and runs. And now we get to step 8, style exercises. These are the fun exercises, and you can incorporate these exercises at any point along the training. In step 8, you learn to sing the basic riffs that are common in today's contemporary music. You'll also learn the blues and pentatonic scales and riffs associated with those scales. Some of these are very advanced. Riffs and runs. Riffs and runs are a huge component of R&B, gospel, and pop music. It's very impressive to most of us to hear someone who riffs well, who chooses just the right notes and executes them with perfect intonation, flexibility, and speed. Here's an example of just a few of the basic riffs and runs. We'll start with neighbors. Neighbors are notes that are close to one another. Yeah, 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 yeah. And we can see how that can turn into a very fast run. Yeah. Or even a minor scale run. Oh, yeah. Neighbors are very, very common in all of today's contemporary music. Falloffs. The falloff riff is just what it sounds like. It's a little fall off at the end. Turns are a little longer. Yeah, 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 yeah. Rise riffs. Accacciaturas and appoggiaturas are known as grace notes. The appoggiatura comes in on the beat. Hello, hello. And this little riff can turn into a run, where we use both the accacciatura and the appoggiatura. I'm dreaming of you. Pitch bends, otherwise known as inflections. This one goes up. Yeah, 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 yeah. This one goes down. Yeah, 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 is based on triplets and sixteenths. Glissandos. You hear a lot of glissandos in rock music. Pulses. Here's a pulse riff. Whoa, wee, whoa, wee. We learned pulses in steps 2 and 3. Now here's how it works in a rock run. I have nothing. Then we get to put all these things together in a song called Oh Holy Night. And we'll just play just a tiny bit of it for you so you can see how it works. Oh, holy night, the stars are brightly shining. Very specifically applying each one of the riffs that we learned in the previous sections. Then we go on to learning our blues and our pentatonic scales, starting with the pentatonic. Pentatonic scales can be done in several inversions, and we would learn riffs in each of those inversions. Again, we don't have time to go through all of them, but let's just play a few of them for you. Here's a nice second step pentatonic run. Here's a nice fifth step pentatonic run. And here's the sixth step pentatonic, which is the minor pentatonic. This is probably the most common one. And then we're going to move on to our blues scales, which is really an extension of the pentatonic scale. Blues is indigenous to the American culture. It's the only truly American music. The blues scale work is really fun. Here's an example of a blues scale exercise. Great way to work on the mix. Here's another fun one. Lots of fun blues exercises. This is a jazzy blues. Doobie-doo. Lots of fun, and of course my personal favorite, since I have 6 rescue beagle dogs, one of whom you probably hear snoring right next door to me here because it's 4 o'clock in the morning on an all-night recording session. But here's my beagle blues. Putting it all together, singing songs. Exercises are designed to encourage success. Songs, on the other hand, are not. Certain vowels, consonants, keys, and melody lines may conspire to undo all your great technique when you sing a song. Here are some ways to bridge the gap between exercises and songs. Don't spread your lips. I call this the neutral mouth. Sing your songs once or twice with your hands or fingers on either side of your mouth to prevent spreading. Never sing with a widespread mouth. Do allow the jaw to drop for higher pitches. You want more vertical space as you go higher in pitch, but not more horizontal space. Vowel substitution or modification. In general, you substitute a slightly more closed vowel for an open vowel that's causing you to pull the lower register too high. This creates greater release, helps you to transition through the first bridge from the lower register to the upper register. Staying on track. Remember that you modify a front vowel to its next closest front neighbor, which will be the more closed vowel. And the same with the back vowel track, to its next closest and more closed neighbor. You're either on the front vowel track or on the back vowel track. Substitute more friendly vowels. Use vowels that are more closed if you're straining and pulling. Use vowels that are more open if you're breathy and weak. Adding or helps you transition through the first bridge. It helps lower the larynx. Every vowel should have some percentage of for depth of sound. Here's the vowel tracks. Front vowels. E, I, A, E, A, A. The bottom two are the basana, I packed my car. And this is as in cat. Central vowels, schwa, about, and gun. Here's our back vowels. U, o, as in oki, and ah. These are made with the tongue further back, and this is the tongue position, highest to lowest, highest to lowest. So you modify to the next more closed vowel. The more closed a vowel is, the higher the tongue position, and the lower F1 is. These vowels will create a headier vocal quality. The more open the vowel is, the lower the tongue position is, and the higher F1 is. This results in a chestier vocal sound. Key transposition. Usually problems occur when a song is set in a key that's too low, so the singer is stuck in the lower register. The solution is to move the key up, sometimes as much as a minor third, so that more of the song is taken in a mix. This will feel uncomfortable if the singer is used to belting, pushing, and using excessive air pressure. A great way to transpose your sheet music is to use the online company musicnotes.com. You can transpose your song to any key and even hear a digital recording of it in the new key to see if it's right. Purchase recorded accompaniment tracks on iTunes. And then if you want to change the key, the amazing slow downer is a great tool. Maintain a moderate volume. Sometimes you need to back off the volume to find better balance if you're pushing too hard, particularly as you approach the first bridge. Only sing as loud on the bottom as you can match on the top. Strive for an even volume level from the bottom to the top, even if that means reducing the overall volume in order to match the lower and upper registers. Write on your sheet music. So print your sheet music out from musicnotes.com. Circle the notes in and above the first bridge so that you're aware that you need to shift gears. Substitute vowels that encourage release and an easier transition into the upper register. Using the chart on the previous page, write in the substitute vowel. If your voice is too breathy and light, substitute vowels that are more open. If you're straining and pulling, substitute more closed vowels. Vocalize the melody of the song using the tools, semi-occluded, such as a lip roll, the imposed larynx, hooty-gee or other imposed larynx sound. A more rounded forward lip position increases the length of the resonator and can help passaggio transition if you're pulling. The pharyngeal sounds, braddy nay or other pharyngeal sound for edge. The friendly compression sounds. Vocalize the song on or for balance. Find a central vowel. Vocalize your song on mum, for example. Eliminate the consonant and sing only the vowels. This is wonderful for legato. Remember to prevent spreading. Sing normally, but with the thumb and finger on the corners of the mouth to prevent spreading. We want a neutral mouth position. The tongue should move freely to create vowels. The lips only provide assistance on the lip-rounded vowels. O. Don't grimace for high notes or push your lips out for low notes. I love this saying by Martha Graham, and I love this picture of this little girl. There's a vitality, a life force, an energy, a quickening that is translated through you into action. Because there's only one of you in all time, this expression is unique. If you block it, it will never exist through any other medium, and it will be lost. The world will not have it. It is not your business to determine how good it is, how valuable it is, nor how it compares with other expressions. It is your business to keep it yours, clearly and directly, to keep the channel open. You do not even have to believe in yourself or your work. You have to keep yourself open and aware to the urges that motivate you. Keep the channel open. No artist is pleased. There's no satisfaction whatever at any time. There's only a queer, divine dissatisfaction, a blessed unrest that keeps us marching and makes us more alive than the others. You Can Sing Like a Star, the public version of the book, and You Can Be a Successful Voice Teacher both combine vocal science with a series of sequential skill-building exercises designed to develop the singer's voice through the 8 steps of vocal development. The 8-week teacher training course is a boot camp experience where in 8 weeks, you will learn how to be a successful voice teacher, from assessment and diagnosis to teaching each one of the 8 steps, including advanced skills and style. To register for an introductory session with Tricia Gray or an SLAS associate, or to register for the 8-week teacher training course, please visit the website at www.singlikeastar.com and click Get Started with an Intro Session. Can everyone learn how to whistle as a result of the balance of registers? I assume you mean, can everybody get into the whistle register? And I think, in my opinion, the answer to that is no. It takes a certain kind of, vocal fold structure to be able to access that really super, super high stuff. And very little of the vocal fold is actually in vibration when that's occurring. And they're not even completely sure what's going on when that happens. There's a lot of different opinions about how the whistle register is accessed. How do you help someone with a very, very fast vibrato? Exactly the procedure that we talked about. I get them doing a pulse. So I just, whoa. When they get connected with that hiss, they figure out there's another way to do this. So all vibrato is acquired, just like language. And so we can learn a new way. Breathing belts available to the public? Yes. You go to www.singlikeastar.com and click on the store, and we will FedEx them to you. Is it possible to buy my program? Yes, it's going to be available, they tell me, the web designers, by Christmas. And so I'm very excited. There's actually like almost 900 MP3 tracks involved in this project. So that's what's taking an awful long time, and getting them mixed and all that kind of stuff. It's also creating a really specific kind of website where the functionality will be the same on any kind of a device. And so, you'll be able to use it on iPad or whatever. So, that's my plan, is to have people, use this as a subscription. Musical theater, difference between musical theater and classical opera. Well, resonance, the accessing of certain harmonics, throat space, the changing the shape of the resonators. I'm not sure if you're referring more specifically to males or females. And of course, with females, we get more into the, are you a belter or are you a legit, or do you want to be able to do both kind of thing? And of course, the belters They're the ones that want to take their their chest voice, their lower register as high as possible. And then, what I try to do with those people is get them into a heavy mix. Just try to convince them that they can mix and sound just as good as they will yelling. Gained a lot of insight today. Thank you so much. Oh, thank you, Veronica. That's nice to hear. It's hard to do a webinar because you're kind of talking out into the void and you're like, did everyone go out for a sandwich? Am I here by myself? I don't know. Okay. Terry Stock asked, how can we be as amazing as you? Terry, you're amazing in such your own way that I could never even come close to you. So get out of here. Okay, Marcelo, do you think it's possible to sing both classical and musical theater with the same quality? I don't know if you mean by quality that it's equally good or if you mean tone quality. If it's tone quality, I would say, no, they require different tone qualities, a different laryngeal height, different resonator space, brighter vowels for theater. But again, it depends. It depends on what show you're doing. Are you doing Phantom or are you doing Rent? Style is one thing that we build onto, the bottom line of really good technique. So, and kind of my take on style that I tell my students, and I think Dean agrees with me. We want to vocalize perfectly. We want to try our best to get perfect technique when we're vocalizing. And then with style, we see how far, what we can get away with. And you have to really pay attention to, how certain things affect your voice. So, if you're a person who wants to do scream or rasp or whatever, like Melissa Cross was teaching, and, some people, can do that. And, I always feel like if you're vocalizing a lot in a good way, you can probably get away with doing more nonsense. You have to pay attention, though, to how it's affecting your voice. Cindy said, thank you. I loved it. Oh, that's nice, Cindy. Thank you. All right. Any other questions coming up? When you're using the adducted exercises in CT dominant, are you talking about upper register or lower register? So the lower register stuff, the step 2 stuff, stays under the first bridge, obviously. We don't want to, take these people into and turn them into chest pushers. But in the upper register, I don't take them very high because that can become kind of harsh. So really, I'm just looking at, first bridge, second bridge, not a whole heck of a lot beyond that. Kiki said, very awesome, very informative. Thank you so much. Thank you, Kiki. Thanks for saying that. All right, anybody else? It's nice to know people are out there after this long. Rita said, thank you. I loved it. Thanks, Rita. Airflow control. I'm not much of a flow phonation person, so I don't really talk about controlling airflow. What I'm listening for is there just enough and not too much of everything, including vocal fold adduction, including whatever else it is. I think of the voice as a system, like a car. It has a bunch of elements that all have to be balanced and working well for this system to function correctly. So it's not, to me, just about, the airflow or just about adduction or just about, formants or anything else. It's getting all of these elements of the system to work equally well, and then the system just functions. What needs more subglottic pressure, classical or musical theater? I'm going to venture that an operatic tenor may perhaps, have more subglottic pressure than a musical theater singer who uses a microphone and all that, and still, in opera, we don't do that so much. It's all about the voice. All right, Deanna said, thank you for your amazing presentation. Answered so many questions I have had. She says, can you use these for classical and opera training, or is it mainly for musical theater, country, and pop? Because of the way that the exercises have been structured, i.e., step 2 is under the first bridge, step 3 is over the first bridge. It doesn't work as well for a classical person because, particularly classical females, bridge lower. So we wouldn't want to train a classical female singer to go up to their first bridge like a pop singer does. In your opinion, how to balance the will to sing every single lesson with the exercises? I try to do, I try to convince people. I try to convince people that they want to get better. I think the tracks really help with this because they do feel like they're kind of moving around and dancing around and having fun with the tracks. And so it's not so much like, oh, play the scale on the piano. So, I think those tracks help with the exercises, but it's always a challenge, getting people to vocalize on the exercises. I just try to keep reinforcing, if you want to get better, you must vocalize on scales. Singing songs is not practicing. But, it's like dinner and dessert. Here's your dessert. Let's sing a song and now you sound better. I'm kind of opposed to the idea of just singing songs, warm up real quick and then just sing the song a few times. I just don't feel like you're really providing a service there. So, again, you really have to sort of tailor your instruction to your student while at the same time kind of setting the bar higher is what I try to do. Do you train singers equally through step 7 independent of style? Independent of the style. Yes, and just change in step 8. Step 8 style is like, it's really for pop singers, R&B, gospel, country, people that want to learn that kind of style. So nobody, if they didn't want to learn how to be, a kind of an R&B pop singer, they probably wouldn't even be interested in that. But I do find that a lot of people really love that kind of stuff and find that it's fun. Yes, using the tracks rather than just piano does allow me to be much more engaged with my student. I'm talking all the time. I get up and I stand next to them. So the tracks are awesome for that. And the students love the tracks. Fernando says, thank you for all this very highly valuable knowledge. You're welcome, Fernando. Okay. In terms of the exercises versus songs thing, I mean, you just try to make the exercises fun if possible. And that's why these tracks came about. I mean, without exception, when I hit play for the first time, they kind of go, because they're not used to actually having, fun, dancey beat kind of music to sing with. And, I let them move around and things like that too. And can't wait for this to be available by subscription. Me either. It's been a 3-year process. Oh my gosh. I just realized I started this in 2013. But, it just takes what it takes, I guess, along with, training associate teachers and all that stuff. So, all right. Well, yeah, I'm pressing as hard as I can to have all this up and available before Christmas. Terry, put your hand down. Why did you raise your hand? I don't know what you want me to do with that. I don't know what to do with the raised hands. You can type a question in the Q&A, though. All right. Anonymous attendee says, congratulations. Great presentation. How do you work onset when the breathiness comes from edema? Right. Well, you certainly would not want to do for those people. No. Lots of straw phonation. Lots of, semi-occluded stuff, whether it's the or just various, forms of our semi-occlusion are what you do with edema. And you do not do any adducted onset with edema, and you don't do, loud singing. Just a lot of straw phonation. You do, etc. like that. Okay. What age do you recommend that a child can have private lessons? I'll tell you, Angelica Hale started with me when she was 4. So, and I really didn't want to take a 4-year-old. I was really reluctant, but boy, am I glad I did now. And remember that, it's not the same for everybody. Some people need more and some people need less. And you don't want to have a one size fits all when you're teaching. And so that's why I've tried to provide a lot of different options. Okay, do you know when we'll have the chance to have another Zoom with you? It's been a pleasure to be here with you. Well, we'll leave that up to Dean and Marianne, and are willing to show up anytime. And like I said, the next time we do this, now that everything's sort of been presented, we can get a little bit more back and forth, and you guys can get a chance to I think I know how to let you actually talk, and you don't have to type. All this is new to us. We're just learning Zoom, but it's going well. Thank you so much. You were amazing. Thank you. I appreciate that. Nice slides. Who made them? The graphics are all in my book. So those have been over time, created over time, and they're all in the book. So you'll see those as well. The book, by the way, is kind of two books. One section is here's the vocal workout, but then the other section is the text, which has a lot of the science and the graphics and things like that. Really love it. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, he said, I saw that it was made in 2014. That's when I started it. Yep. And like I said, maybe by Christmas. But it's a huge project, seriously. Almost 900 MP3s, 900. And lots and lots of writing and revising and, things like that. Really been quite a process here with this book. Really quite a process. But like I said, it's going to be available as a subscription. You'll pay a monthly fee, and then, for that monthly fee, you'll be able to access, male tracks, female tracks, all the information, anything you want, and use it in your own studios as well. So yeah, the thing that I like about this and what I'm hoping other people find valuable is that, you don't have to be a great pianist now to be able to construct a great lesson. And like we said before, takes you off the piano and you're much more available to the student and you're listening better and things like that. So that was kind of my objective. I started training associate teachers, and I found that, oh my gosh, it's just been such a process because, it's been the revolving door of associates, I've learned as I've gone along, kind of what works with people and what doesn't, and, how to hire people, but then you never can really tell if somebody's going to work out because it's a lot of work to learn this. But having the tracks and things makes it really much easier for a beginning teacher to step in and start teaching. Whereas without this, I just don't know how anybody would do it. So, for the Zoom lessons, do you play along with the students singing with you? Well, what we've been doing is we actually use the tracks now. I'm told by Zoom that if you have high-speed internet and you're hardwired, I could actually play the tracks and they would sing along with the tracks. Now, so far, we've tried doing that and it hasn't worked out that well because there is some degree of latency, but we're trying to address those issues. So that might just happen where we could just hit play and play the tracks. However, at this point, usually it's a lot of call and response. I sing, they sing. I sing, they sing. I sing, they sing. You back and forth. And sometimes I play along with them, even though I know there's some latency happening. Distance lessons can be challenging that way because you're not actually playing along with the student. But doing distance lessons opens up your studio. I would say I do at least a third of my lessons online. Even with local Atlanta people. Who wants to drive if you don't have to? Once you convince them that it's convenient, they're not going to drive, 30 minutes and stuff. So this online thing really has been great for us teachers. Great information. Love the tracks. It was a lot of work, but great for the students. Thank you so much. Oh, that's nice. Thank you. Yep. Well, thank you, everybody, for staying so long, and thanks for the questions at the end. And, like I said, we'll try to, revisit this if you guys have an inclination to do this, and we can actually, do some more back and forth and so forth like that. And thanks for being so supportive about my project here, and thanks for being here on the webinar. All righty. Have a great rest of your day. You can sing